Hello. Yo, can we get like a pulse check? I want to see who is in the house right now. I want to see who is here, who is vibing with me. I see we have over 300 people in the session with me now. Who is in the chat? Where are you at? Okay, I see some emojis coming out too. Emily is in the house. Okay, Nazir's in the house. Leanne is in the house. Bay Area is present and accounted for. Okay, Indianapolis in the house. Here I am. Come on now. Where my people at? Michelle from Hawaii. Michelle, can I call you? Because I need to go to Hawaii. Okay, I need to go maybe in the Big Island, maybe Oahu. I'm gonna call you. Kansas is in the house. Alexander is in the house. I love to see it. San Antonio's in the house. Alberta. Come on, people. Christine, NYC. I already told you, NYC, we're going to have a hosting party, a viewing party. I'm uptown right now in Manhattan, in Washington Heights. Fun fact, In the Heights was my very first Broadway musical that I ever saw in high school. Okay. And I remember when I went to go into that show, I was like in like the ninth grade or like something like that. And I was like, I would love to live in New York City one day. And look at me now. Come on. You don't even know you're manifesting without manifesting. Okay. And what I want y'all to manifest, come on, somebody, is how you work smarter, not just faster. Okay. I'm manifesting a calm life for you. Okay. So I want you to join me. All right. And the next person is going to help us do this so well. Y'all, Beth Kanter is an author, speaker, and trainer who works at the intersection of artificial intelligence and nonprofit human-centered work. And she's also one of the kindest people that I have ever had the pleasure of meeting, working with, and knowing. Okay? So please help me welcome to the stage speaker, author, trainer, and good old friend, the one, the only, Beth Kanter.
Oh, wow. It was so great to like watch you on the stage. I couldn't hear you, but I know you did this amazing introduction. And so I just want to like hop right to it. And today we're going to be talking about staying sharp with AI, how to work smarter, not just faster. But before we get into it, I just want to get a sense of where the audience is in terms of your AI adoption journey. Are you just exploring it, maybe with a little shadow use, using it, but not telling your boss? Are you experimenting individually, but not organizational wide? Are you scaling up AI skills across the organization with formal training and a policy? Or are you at that exponential stage where AI is embedded everywhere? And I see people are already taking the poll, but you can just point your phone at that QR code, or you can open up another tab and go to slido.com and use the hashtag #SharpAI. And I want to see where we are. Awesome. Let a few more folks answer. But what I'm starting to see is what I see been seeing over the last couple of years of asking this question. I see more people moving from explore into experiment. Most of you who have answered the poll so far in that experimental stage, I'm seeing more and more moving to enterprise, sometimes in between, sometimes at it. And also that exponential is always a smaller amount. So what I want to tell you all, no matter where your organization is on its adoption journey, today's session will help you adopt AI in a very intentional, effective way in your organization. So now that we got a sense of where everyone stands with AI, let's dive into today's agenda. I'm going to cover how to collaborate with AI mindfully and avoid the trap of too much cognitive offloading. And then I'm going to share lots of tips to help you stay sharp and not just gain speed, although that's also important. So, and of course, we'll wrap up with a lot of takeaways. For those of you that like to circle back to the slides and want to go deeper on some of the resources and research I mentioned, I've put together that resource page for you. You can get it at the QR code or that URL, and we'll flash this up again. So don't worry if you didn't get a chance to capture it. All right, so let's talk about the opportunity. If AI is giving you back some time, How would you reinvest it to strengthen your human skills or do tasks with AI or your human brain that help your organization's impact? So here's a quick poll. If AI can save you 5 hours per week, how would you strategically reinvest that time to enhance your skills to improve your organization's impact? So this one's going to be a word cloud, and you can take the poll by going to slido.com and type in the code sharp AI and just type in 3 words. I just want to see like this is the opportunity that dividend of time, as it's called. What would you do to either enhance your organization's impact or fundraising, or invest in your human skills? I'm seeing lots of great strategic planning, right? The long-term planning, that stuff that's so important, but we don't have time for it in the day-to-day onslaught of tasks. Professional development, new projects, find more donors, clean up our CRM. Yeah, so there's like all these things that we could do if we could just free up that time. And we know that if we learn prompting skills and we learn how to use AI, automation can give us this gift of the dividend of time. So why that is important is because we want to keep that in mind, because we don't want to spend all of that AI time savings into more busyness or just doing more work faster. And I know, I get it. We're all overwhelmed. And so saving time is really attractive. Like, I want that too. We all want it. And yes, we should automate, but we should do it strategically. And efficiency shouldn't be that end game. So instead, think about how you can reinvest that time into building your human skills. And with AI too, without and with AI, or focusing only on those human tasks like strategic thinking, planning, long-term plans, cleaning up the CRM, donor relationships that really enhance your organization's impact. So as Yuval Harari said, and he is the author of a book called Sapiens, for every hour we gain with AI, we should invest an hour in being better humans, and then everything will be all right. But remember, right? It's not just about automating. Automating is important, and doing more tasks and checking more things off your to-do list. It's also about using AI as an augmentation tool for our human skills and learning, so we can free up time to focus on what really matters. So in the chat, actually, I'm just popping over, seeing I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to move on to a section. I'm going to run down most of the most recent AI research on why human AI collaboration skills are important, and some of the most effective ways to collaborate. There's been a whole lot of new studies released in the last 2 months. So I'm going to summarize them at a high level and give you some practical takeaways, and then we'll get into the tips. And all of the studies are linked on the resource pages if you want to take a deep dive yourself. So let's start with why human AI collaboration skills are essential workplace skills and becoming more and more important as more of us adopt AI. So we're hearing a lot of hype about AI agents, autonomous agents, and replacing human jobs. And that's creating this new kind of anxiety. It's called FOBO. Anyone heard of FOBO? FOBO is fear of being obsolete. But let me tell you, FOBO can also be a catalyst. It's an invitation to lead through uncertainty, unlock creativity, and imagine new possibilities for ourselves. Harvard Business School researcher and professor Joe Fuller released a very extensive study over the summer on the impact of generative AI adoption in the workplace. And he found that there's an impact happening, yes, on mostly entry-level skills right now and in certain industries, call centers. But he also found that human skills really, really matter. And his conclusion is that AI's impact is really as a job shaper, not necessarily a job killer. So FOMO is just that nudge for us to blend both worlds, picking up AI technical skills like prompting and building, and automating with custom GPTs and Gemini, but also doubling down on our human strengths with and without AI. So that way, we're not just dodging obsolescence, we're actually leading and marching right through it. So let me unpack what human and AI collaboration actually means. All right. So here's a simple way to think about it. Think of it is that you got three hats when you go into the kitchen, right? You have the prep cook hat, and this is your AI automation mode to save time. You let AI handle the repetitive chopping so you can save your brain for the real cooking. And then there's the sous chef's hat. That's where AI is your collaborator, your teacher, helping you refine your recipe. But you add the final seasoning. It augments your skills and doesn't replace them. I mean, the last I heard, I haven't heard ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude releasing a new feature that allows large language models to understand taste. So that's definitely a human skill, and it's a human thing you add at the end when you're augmenting. And finally, we have the family recipe and the hat that you wear. And these are those human-only tasks where it's your unique touch, your experience, your lived experience, your judgment, your wisdom that makes the dish special. So that's the gist. We have three modes, each one just a different way of teaming up with AI or not. So there's been a lot of research now on what are the most effective ways to collaborate, now that we understand the concept at a high level. So human AI collaboration in the workplace comes down to figuring out who does what and how much oversight is needed on the output for each of the workflows. I like to call this the skill of discernment. And I think this is a really important workplace skill that we need to exercise and retain, really understanding what use case, what approach for AI. So the Stanford Institute for Human AI Collaboration has released a number of studies over the summer. And this one introduced something called the Human Agency Scale that runs from autonomous agents, where the AI just does the work without much human intervention, automation with some human oversight, to augmentation, where AI acts as our thought partner, but humans have the end say, and to human work only. Things like being creative or interpersonal decisions where we humans have to be in charge. So I think it's a really helpful way to think about our use cases and our tasks within our workflows. So, for example, let me lay this out for you. Autonomous agent, AI can take notes in your weekly staff meeting with one of those AI note takers. We just push a button, let it do it. We don't have to watch it type, right? With automation, we might use Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini to summarize those meeting notes, but the human will spot check it. With augmentation, this might be a case where you, the human, writes a rough notes and rough draft of a job description. Then AI gives you feedback, maybe even polishes your draft. You refine the output. You add the cultural fit pieces that attract the right candidates. And then, of course, an all-human task is the hiring decision. As of now, I know I've seen some things about where I don't think we're there. The humans make the decision on who to hire. So that's an illustration of the human agency scale. But Tay Bannerman from McKinsey has created this really great nuanced framework about human in the loop and how to really decide. And he suggests that we always start when we ask the question, should I use AI for that? We should ask, what are we optimizing for? Is it speed, accuracy, quality of work? And what's at stake? If it messes up, is it a minor embarrassment or is it a life-threatening crisis, right? And so Stanford gives us the human agency spectrum, and Bannerman gives us the filters, the questions that help us decide where on the spectrum each task belongs. So human AI collaboration in the workplace is figuring out who does what, how much oversight and supervision, and for what workflow. And this is an important skill that we need to develop along with our technical skills like prompting. Okay, so let's look at some research that's been emerging. This is in the last year, and it's showing the impact on human cognitive skills, both in education and the workplace. You've probably seen a lot of headlines. And it has, I think, implications for how we train our staff and how we're doing upskilling or AI skilling. So, Professor Michael Gerlich's research has found that many AI upskilling programs actually downgrade our human capabilities by not also teaching or building a good foundation in human AI collaboration. We rush right to the prompting. Prompting's important, but we really want to spend some time with thinking through what a human and AI collaboration. And he calls it sort of humorously when upskilling becomes downskilling, because what we're doing is creating a habit of mindless productivity, and we start to apply that to everything. So I guess the bottom line is that we don't want to teach people to put their brains in a jar. And I don't, let's see if you can see my brain in the jar. Here it is. We don't want to do that. We want to take it out of the jar, right? And use it rather than delegating all our thinking to AI. All right. And so, and I'm not saying, and again, there's degrees of that, right? Just like Bannerman's framework. So when I do training, and most of my work is in AI upskilling, and I really want to make sure it's not downskilling, I help people assess their workflows to figure out who does what. And I call this framework SHIFT, right? So we start with select the right low risk tasks for AI. Hold on to that time you save. Don't fill it up with more work. Reinvest that time in human work or organizational impact. Let AI help your skills and learning flourish. Where can you use it to help you think better, write better, learn something new? And then always keep your human thinking at the core. That's what that T is. And that T in think brings up another crucial concept that explains why all of this is so important, and that's cognitive offloading. So let me explain it. All right. So I'm going to, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And I'll give you the short answer. It's complicated. Okay. So cognitive offloading is essentially using external tools, whether it be a pen and paper or AI, to lighten the mental load of workplace tasks such as reading, thinking, summarizing, writing. This means we rely on these tools to handle some of the cognitive heavy lifting, like recall, writing drafts, writing for thinking. When we do it right, it frees up our brains for more complex tasks. But if we overdo it with AI, especially, we might find our own our human thinking getting a little rusty, and that could be unhealthy cognitive offloading. So healthy cognitive offloading. All right. Mobile phones, when they came out, we didn't have to remember phone numbers because the smartphones stored them. And this freed our brain up for more important cognitive tasks like listening to somebody on the other end of the phone. Healthy cognitive offloading, calculators, another common example in daily life and educational settings. They benefit in accuracy, speed, and freeing up cognitive resources. But when they were first introduced in the classrooms, they raised all kinds of alarm bells on the potential impact on math skills. And after a while, we saw there wasn't. They actually ended up being quite useful. However, using calculators for basic math was a very narrow, limited area and did not have a great cognitive impact. But tools like generative AI, ChatGPT, this is the greatest, most powerful cognitive offloading tool we ever created, right? And we love it. It doesn't just provide information, and it provides answers. It writes drafts for us. And it's getting faster, it's getting smarter, and more of us are using it. And the tools can offer these incredible benefits. It can help us scale our fundraising, raise more dollars, get more impact, and maybe with less burnout, which is a big problem in our sector. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't use generative AI. I'm a generative AI booster. I believe in it, but I also believe in using it intentionally. So we just have to make sure that we're mindful and that we're mindfully cognitive offloading so that it doesn't impact our thinking, writing, recall skills, which are important for leadership and doing the work, the very human work we do in this sector. And that we don't want to like go into that unhealthy habit of just simply asking a question or asking for a draft and just accepting it as it comes out and moving on without critically engaging our brains. So, is there evidence for this? There's early signals, but I think it's important for us to look at these and understand that there's still a lot more research going on. So, the first one that attracted a lot of media attention this summer was a study from MIT that studied different groups of students. Some used ChatGPT to write their essays from start to finish, while others used their human brains. The researchers hooked up all these gizmos and identified a decrease in brain activity when ChatGPT did all the writing. So those results sparked all of these alarmist headlines and controversy. And the media really didn't report the whole story because there was another aspect of the research that wasn't really covered. The students who initially wrote the essay with their own brains were later asked to use ChatGPT to help them improve their essays and their writing. And that switch boosted brain activity in contrast to what neuroscientists found during the initial experiment. So early signal, but something to keep in mind and kind of making a case for that all of your use cases should not be automation. They should also include augmentation or you're using your human brain. Okay, so this study is more specifically about the workplace, and it's from Carnegie Mellon and actually Microsoft, and they're looking, and there's many others that are looking at the impact on cognitive offloading with generative AI in the workplace. So this one showed that as we gain more confidence using AI, the less our brains are engaged and the less we use critical thinking. So the more we use it, our confidence goes up, our trust goes up, and especially as we start automating things, we tend to do less ourselves or even check it. And this is not anti-AI evidence. What it is pro-intentional use. So we simply need to avoid the habit of mindless productivity and really be intentional of which use case we're using and when to stretch our own thinking. And again, these are early studies just over the summer published or the last year. There's more coming on the horizon. So for example, I just saw this call for papers in the Microsoft Research Lab. And this one is kind of looking at the various ways that that AI interfaces can be optimized so that there is human augmentation of thinking and learning. So I think the deadline is in a month or so. So we'll be seeing a lot more of this research and findings in 2026. So I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to see if anything else is going on. Just take a breath. And I'm actually going to ask my behind the scenes producer to see how much time I have left before I hop right into all the tips. Okay. All right. So using AI to augment your thinking and preserve your human cognitive skills. I just want to hear from my backstage folks. How much time do I have left? I'm looking at my clock. I think I have 20 minutes. Just so
Hey.
Yeah? Am I
Yes,
good?
no. You technically have like less than 1 minute, but it's totally fine. Our next session starts at 1:30. So if you want to go on a little bit longer, y'all want Beth to keep on going?
Oh, but I
think
got all
that
the
they
tips.
do.
I got all the tips.
So feel free, take a few more minutes, and then I'll rush through our next slides. But keep on going. So I got the notes over here. This is good. All right, go ahead.
All right. Good. Thank you, Claude. Floyd. I called you Claude. Floyd. All right. I need an AI tool named Floyd, right? Anyway, so I'm going to go through these tips. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. So tip number one, maximize your human durable skills. These are the skills that AI can't do, right? and thinking critically is essential for nonprofit leaders and staff, and we need strong recall and connections. So, and also another thing, skill that's happening is that we have to learn metacognition, understanding how we think related to different tasks. So the tip here is to boost your human brain power, not just your AI power. Walk to get some blood flow into your brain. Try to practice recalling information without looking up. Write on paper to think clearly. Even Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, uses pen and paper to think clearly. Let's hear a quick video from him on it.
I'm a huge note taker. Oh, tell me about that. There's all these like fancy notebooks in the world. You don't want those. You definitely want a spiral notebook, because one thing that's important is you can rip pages out, and you also want it to lie like flat and open on the table. I take a bunch of notes and then I like rip them out so I can look at multiple pages at the same time, and I can like crumple them up and throw them on the floor when I'm done. Like when our house cleaner comes in, there's just these pile of crumpled papers on the floor. You want hard front and back to the notepads, and you also want something that can fit in a pocket. I think the Uniball Micro 0.5 pen is the best pen overall, but the Muji 0.36 or 0.37 in dark blue ink is a very nice pen for other reasons. So those are the two I would use.
Great. So I would disagree with him on the use of pens. I'm a pen aficionado, but there is a lot of research that shows writing by hand is best for human clarity and thinking. And he's not saying don't use digital. Of course, he uses digital. And I imagine he also uses ChatGPT, but thinking on paper can help strengthen that. We want to think of AI as hot sauce, not ketchup. You don't need it for everything. So really be intentional and don't cross over. Define what tasks you'll delegate to AI and what you'll do yourself, and mark some tasks AI-free zones. And here's how to figure it out. You can ask yourself these 3 reflection questions, and you can also like have a list of your human-only brain zone, and then come up with some things that are good for collaboration. I'm going to skip through this chat, but maybe just take a minute for yourself to think about one human brain only activity that you want to retain for yourself. The other is think first, then partner with AI. You know, don't use it as a ghost writer all the time, right? Especially if you use writing to think. I'm not saying don't use it for like occasionally popping out a quick routine email response. But we always want to avoid always working with AI in the same way. And that's where Taylor Swift can teach us something. When Taylor writes her song, she uses 3 different pens: a fountain pen for deep and poetic, a glitter pen for fun and bouncy, and a quill for serious ballads. So that's her way of signaling her brain on what mode she's in. And we can do the same. You know, maybe we say, I'm in strategy mode, so I need to think this through before turning to AI to write the draft. So cue yourself, right? Don't let going to AI and giving you the answer be the default. Okay, use AI to be a learn-it-all and a self-directed learner. All of the tools, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, have learning modes, and they're incredible. I use them all the time. And what you can see here in the deck are some examples of prompts to help you learn something. I'm like learning something every day, and it's amazing. I'm keeping my brain cells going, and these tools are great tutors and helpers. One quick way to 10x your learning is to use the projects feature or a Gemini notebook, and you set it up as a project or notebook. And then you ask the AI to lead a Socratic dialogue with you about something that you want to understand. And then it creates a summary for you, and then you validate it. Here's another thing too. You can ask it to give you feedback, but you have to fine tune the voice. I've been learning watercolors, and at first it was telling me I was a genius. And then I asked it to be a mean art critic, and it was demoralizing. But then I told it to be an incredibly helpful art teacher who's launched many art careers. And I started getting really great advice to help me improve watercolor technique. Also, use it to support critical thinking, not final decisions. Here are some great things to add to your prompt. Finally, don't fall asleep at the wheel. You always want to check the output and verify it. And you can also make this an organizational norm, right? You can have spot the mistake, start to spot where it gets it wrong. You don't have to spend the whole time like looking for mistakes, but spot check when it's a really important output. So The question I'm going to leave you with is do you want to be a driver or a passenger using AI, right? Drivers ask good questions. They know prompting skills. They use a human AI sandwich. They start with their human brain, go to AI, and finish it with the human. They choose their modes wisely. They know when they're in human mode or AI collaboration mode. They validate the output and they use it selectively, and they really honor the dividend of time, making themselves better humans. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I know
that was so good. I don't know if y'all can see the chat, but Aaron said, Beth, once again, you have provided the insight we need. I couldn't have said it better than myself because, Beth, you already know what it is. Can y'all give it up for Beth in the chat, please? Beth, that was so amazing, so insightful. And y'all, there were so many questions that we could not get to. So make sure you join Beth's lounge session and also check out Beth's book. We just put the CTA in the chat. We just put the CTA on the screen so you can get Beth's book, okay? Thank you, my good friend Beth. I'm so grateful for you. All right, y'all, we are going to go ahead and power through some of these slides just because our next session is starting right now. Okay, so let me go ahead and go quickly. What did you think about the session? You already know what it is. Please take a picture of that QR code. If you loved Beth as much as I did, scan that QR code and let her know, okay? We have the Work Smarter with AI lounge session. Again, the Q&A is going to be in the lounge. If you don't know how to get there, obviously, remember, just go to the reception area and you're going to see the lounge section at the top of your screen. Hit lounge and then you can find Beth there. Join Summit Plus. We've talked about it once. We'll talk about it again. Okay. Summit Plus is everything that you need. Over $5,000 of value packed into Summit Plus. And you get also a 3-week immersion and you get up to 12 months of AI Spark sessions. Y'all, everything and so much more for only $665 available until September 17th. Use the code FAI Summit at checkout. Yes, you're going to get all the recordings, okay? So tell your friends to tell a friend. All the recordings are available for you. You're going to get them just because you were here. Thank you to our wonderful and amazing sponsors. We also have the Amplify Engagement Challenge, okay? The more you engage, the more questions you ask, the more you chat and react, you are going to climb the leaderboard. If you don't know where the leaderboard is, look at where your chat section is. You're going to look for the trophy right above that and find your name. Are you on top? What did they say back in the day with America's Next Top Model? Want to be on top? Okay. I don't know if that's what you want. Find that leaderboard. Okay. All the theme song without all the other criticism and chaos of ANTM. Okay. If you know, you know. Also, remember, thank you to our amazing, amazing partners and sponsors. In fact, let's do a quick video of Giving Tuesday now. I don't know if Princey is telling me we're not going to do it, but if we are going to do it, then let's go for it. I don't think we're going to do it. So let's keep on going. All right. So, all right, y'all. Well, we are going to go ahead and go to our next session. Remember, we are, if you are interested, so thank you to Giving Tuesday. Thank you to Spark AI. Y'all, we have an amazing keynote happening right now on the Amplify stage. So if you are ready, just exit this stage, go and then click this next session. We're going to have AI at the Crossroads, Trust, Governments, and Human Impact with Dr. Arunman Chodberry and Nathan Chappelle. All right, fam. I'll see you soon. All right, on the same Amplify stage. And I'll see you guys in just a second. Bye, y'all.